Hello and welcome. You are watching a special budget presentation. I have with me a very special guest, Mr. Shashank, India Secretary, ICICI Director. Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
hi,
Mr.
good afternoon.
India. Big takeaway from the
Yeah,
budget.
so for the auto space, I think the one blockbuster announcement was the government announcing voluntary scrappage policy for commercial vehicles greater than 15 years of age and for passenger vehicles for greater than 20 years of age. So, though ideally the industry demand was for a firm and a mandatory scrappage policy, but nevertheless, the voluntary scrappage policy will certainly help in boosting the volumes when the space is on the cusp of cyclical recovery. Secondly, pertaining to CV space itself, the government announced an allocation of roughly 18,000 odd crores for procurement of roughly 20,000 odd buses for public transport, which is going to be procured on public-private partnership basis. Moreover, on a general sense, the robust allocation towards the capex spend at roughly 5.5 lakh odd crores, which is up 35 odd %, as well as steps to augment the farm income in terms of better procurement of farm produce, allocation to micro irrigation fund, bodes well for the entire automobile space, particularly for the rural-facing sites like tractors and two-wheelers, as well as the cyclical plays like commercial vehicle space.
Markets are given a thumbs up, and auto sector is buzzing today. So, what do you expect, and which of the companies or which of the auto component companies would be the major beneficiaries of what
Right. So I think in the crux, the commercial vehicle space seems to be the biggest beneficiary out of this union budget. And the likes of OEMs like Ashok Leyland, Tata Motors could be the key beneficiary. Then we will have the forging component players like Bharat Forge, Forging. Then again in the CV space, tire companies like JK Tire, Apollo Tires, and tire ancillaries like Philips Carbon Black. So the entire commercial vehicle value chain is the space which will benefit the most out of this union budget 21-22.
The import duty on some of the auto components has been
right. So these form a very minuscule part of the entire value chain. So I don't think it will have any material impact per se for the automobile companies or the auto ancillaries. Secondly, on the contrary, I think the government has reduced some custom duty on import of steel and steel allied products, right? So which will help them lower the raw material costs. So in a way, it's again a positive for the auto space.
Do you expect the demand to pick up after this kind of a reformist budget that FM has
Certainly, given the push on the rural front in terms of augmenting farm income as well as capex spend, we do believe that two-wheelers, tractors, and commercial vehicles should witness robust demand prospects going forward.
Hello and welcome. You are watching special coverage on Budget 21-22. I have with me a very special guest, Mr. Shashank, Senior Sector Expert, FMCG and Consumer Director. Good afternoon and welcome.
Hi. In terms of budget expectation, we had this expectation that the NREGA or the Rural Employment Guarantee scheme allocation would increase from 61,000 crore last year to approximately 75,000 crore this year. So, which is probably in line what we were expecting it. That allocation has increased to 73,000 crores. So, what we believe that this would help FMCG companies to continue the growth momentum which they have seen in the volume growth in last 2-3 quarters. Though due to the COVID and the reverse migration issue, the revised allocation last year was somewhere around 1 lakh crores. But I think that was an exceptional situation, and that kind of allocation was not required this time. So from an original allocation, it has increased by almost 12,000 crores to 73,000 crore, which will as I mentioned would continue the growth momentum in the FMCG volume growth. Secondly, I think what is the most important thing and which came in the very first phase of the budget speech, that the government has increased the allocation towards the Jal Jeevan Mission, which is basically providing the water tap connection to the urban and the rural households, and that has increased to from 11,000 crore last year to approximately 50,000 crore. So that's a huge jump, almost 5 times increase in that kind of allocation. We believe that will really benefit the plastic pipe companies due to the higher PVC sales. So somebody like Supreme Industries, or for that matter, Astral Poly would benefit because of this increase in the allocation. Even in NREGA, I think the increased allocation would benefit a lot of FMCG companies which has a higher rural presence, like Dabur and HUL have a higher rural presence. So it will benefit these companies. And third, probably one of the important thing is which we really see in every budget, and the expectation is that there will be some changes, the cigarette duties and taxes. So we have seen in last 3 years that government has not really increased the duties and taxes on cigarettes, except once, that was in last year's budget. So the policy probably is the continuation of the stable taxation policy. There's no increase in the duties and taxes on cigarettes. Anyway, we have seen the industry has been under tremendous pressure due to the COVID impact, negative impact of COVID, with the volumes are almost 20% down on a 9 months basis. So I think this was the required move, that policy on the taxes should remain stable. ITC and VST industries should benefit out of it. And I think a very small part of that has been, the other part has been the the additional agri and infra cess which has been put on the crude palm oil, but I believe that the basic custom duty has also decreased. So there will be minor change in the custom duties on the crude palm oil, which would not impact FMCG companies much, given even if there is a net increase, they would be able to pass on that kind of a hike because of their pricing power. So very much neutral for the FMCG companies as far as the crude palm oil increase is concerned. So on an overall basis, we believe it remain a positive budget for FMCG and consumer companies. There has been no negative surprises on the cigarette side, and allocation to the NREGA has increased to a decent proportion. So all in all, it seems to be a positive budget for FMCG and consumer companies.
Mr. Marial, if we talk about the valuations of the company, we have seen a good run-up in all the FMCG companies. So if you have to rank a few companies and say that these are the beneficiaries of the budget announced, so what would be those companies?
So though there has been a valuation concern on a lot of companies, but I think the kind of growth they have seen in last 9 months, specifically those which are rural dependent or rural region contribution is very high, have been beneficiary. And I think the kind of balance sheet and the cash flows these companies have, they will continue to command the premium multiples. And growth is something which was the concern from before the COVID period, or in FY20, I think Q3 and Q4 of last year were slowing down. We were seeing a slowing down in demand, but I think that has reversed post COVID situation after the excessive rural allocation from the government side, or government stimulus towards that. So I think the premium valuation will remain here. Certain companies which will be seeing a better growth than the others, we prefer those ones.
Thank you, Mr. Margal, for your views on the budget.
Thank you very much.
Very good afternoon, Mr. Khandekar. Big boost for healthcare in this budget, as was expected. 64,180 crore healthcare sector boost, PM Atmanirbhar Swasthya Bharat Yojana. How do you see this?
Yes, so the budgetary allocation has gone up by almost 9%, and I think whatever 64,180 that crores that the finance minister was alluding to, I think is a part of the healthcare allocation, which has gone up by I think 9%. So overall allocation is around 71,200 odd crores. But I think that is slightly below our expectation of 75,060 or 76,000 crores or thereabout. So mainly on account of, I think there is no additional outlay for Ayushman Bharat scheme, and it was kept at 6,400 odd crores only. That was expected actually. So I mean, we were expecting slightly higher allocation, but I think the significant amount of allocation has been earmarked for vaccination drive, COVID vaccination drive. That is around 35,000 odd crores. So that is something that has, the government has. I think this is a significant announcement in the sense that we were expecting around 24,000 crores, and I think the announcement came in at 35,000 odd crores. So yes, I mean overall, I think we can expect some amount of fill and finish opportunities for some of the Indian players going ahead. Besides, there was no major announcement for pharma companies, majorly on the R&D front that we were expecting. So I think we were expecting slightly higher tax allocation for R&D expenditure from 100% to I think 150 to 200%, but that didn't came around actually. So yes, I mean overall, I think I would say it's neutral for pharma companies, but I think to some extent we might see some something for private healthcare players, but not significant as such, to say the least.
So you are disappointed with the kind of announcement made for healthcare sector, because it was thought this time with COVID crisis, the healthcare sector would be in focus.
I mean, it was there in the focus as such, but I think if you are connecting it with the budget, I think that might not be a direct like correlation as such. But I think allocation is, they have increased the allocation, so you might see some more, so we were expecting some public-private kind of an, arrangement and this thing PPP basis. So that didn't, the budget is silent on that front. So yes, the allocation has increased, but is not going to directly flow down to the private hospitals as such. But we need to see.
We have seen a good movement in the stocks of pharma companies in the last 1 year. It has been a very good season for pharma. So, any of the companies that you think should do better in near future?
Yes. Most of the companies, I think they have initiated cost control drives, and I think that is something that is reflecting on their performances. Plus, they had some good opportunities on account of COVID also, both in domestic market as well as in international markets. So I think that is something that they can, they are trying to cash on as such. And I think more or less we expect not in sync with budget, but I think overall most of the companies on the fundamental side, yes, they remain in good shape, and I think we expect some good results and prospects for most of the companies under our coverage.
Special coverage on Budget 21-22. I have with me Ms. Kajal Gandhi, Senior Sector Expert, BFSI, ICICIdirect.com. Welcome to the show, Ms. Gandhi.
Hi, thank you.
So lots of announcement as far as the BFSI segment is concerned. 20,000 crore for a bank recap for FY22, 2 ARC and AMC to take over public sector banks, bad debt, and then you have disinvestment of 2 PSU banks happening. How do you see this entire of budget impacting this sector as such?
Yeah, so as we see, PSU banks appear to be in focus here because couple of things which is under privatization or divestment of 2 PSU banks is one of the first and will also help a long way in the PSU banks. So we have to see which are these banks, maybe the larger ones which are just merged, or the standalone 2-3 banks which are left yet. But the privatization thing will be helpful for all the PSU banks, and multiples can be improved because of this. Apart from this, the capital outlay of 20,000 crore is going to be beneficial for the PSU banks, particularly who are not able to raise in the markets. So that way, if you look at the PSU banks have taken a seat here in the budget. Apart from this, if you look at broadly the asset reconstruction part, which they have said a new AMC to be created to take over the bad and stressed assets of the banks. So that will also enable a lot of PSU banks to shun their stressed book and then get over to the growth path. So that will be a positive for the PSU banks. I think a mild pressure for the PSU banks can be from the yields part, because if the government borrowing program is going to be slightly on the higher side, we may see some bit of firmness in the GSEC yields, and which will keep the treasury profits contained for the PSU banks. However, the other factors are slightly more positive from the PSU bank's perspective that have been announced. The stressed asset book will also help few of the stressed private sector banks who are sitting on a huge pile of NPAs. So they will also be benefiting from this AMC. And in future, we may not see large stress pool building in the bank books, and they may go to the AMC quite sooner. Apart from this, if you look at the budget announcements, insurance is one space where also the announcements have been there. FDI hike of 49 to 74% is also positive. You will have the inflows, and a lot of foreign participants who may want to set up shop can come in. It is a good for the sector. One thing which is there in the fine print is on the ULIP side. If we have seen that over 2.5 lakh annual premium on an aggregate basis, the taxation is going to be there, and they will be taxed just like mutual funds. So the EET for over 2.5 lakh kind of premium players will be introduced, and Section 10D deduction is going. So that way, if you look at the ULIP premiums are going to be slightly maybe impacted.
Okay. Speaking of ARC structure have not been clearly described here. How crucial would it be to see coming back?
So it will be very crucial, because if you look at PSU banks, many of them are sitting over 20% GNPA ratios or 15% GNPA ratios, and also the restructured portfolio is expected to be coming up. So that way, the setup of AMC, where there can be capital participation from the government and some of the large PSU banks or private banks. But then this will come a long way for resolution of stressed assets, where the focus of certain segment will be on only that, and banks can work on their growth path. So that will definitely be a good move, and it was long expected actually.
So what do you expect in the markets now? Markets are booming, and PSU sector banking, both private and the public sector space is the buzz.
So both public and private banks are currently booming, and that's couple of things, as I mentioned, on the PSU banks are getting positive. And in the private sector space, if you look at the interest rates, if are remaining slightly firmer, the lending rates may not go so sharply down as was expected. It is possible that margins for even private sector bank will be stable. Apart from that, the budget is full of infrastructure and growth. So if the growth participation has to be from the banking sector, both private and public banks are going to be participating. So it is going to be a positive for the banking sector as a whole.
Any of your top bets, Kajal?
So we remain positive on the large private sector bank space because of their high capital, good asset quality. Even retail books are fine currently, and in the current pressure, they are not having too much of stress both on restructuring or GNPA. So HDFC Bank, Axis Bank remains, and Kotak Bank remains on the positive side for us.
Welcome, sir. So what's your view on the budget?
So the budget has actually struck the right chord in prioritizing growth over fiscal deficit. So the key risk, what people were expecting, that the government might tighten its nose over the fiscal deficit and growth might take a back seat, or where the how will the growth be funded for. But to everybody's surprise, without any deviation, the government has clearly focused on the capex cycle, reviving infrastructure growth. Because if we see the aim of this NDA government, they have been harping on this $5 trillion economy over the next 4-5 years.
And to reach there or to attain that goal, probably manufacturing, infrastructure and capital expenditure is the only way out to achieve the goal. So budget has gone perfectly right and has hit the right chord in giving its right message that infrastructure will be the key focus in increasing the GDP growth and the prosperity of the country.
What's happening on the power? Are you satisfied what has been announced in the power sector?
Within the infra space, if you see, power has been touched upon, but then the schemes were already there. See, the key announcement that the finance minister has made during the budget is that they again will launch a revival scheme for all the DISCOMs, which will be to the tune of in excess of 3 lakh odd crores and spread over several years. So the key contours of the scheme is to install smart meters, which would reduce the theft and increase efficiency of all the DISCOMs and increase the cash flows for them and hence lower the losses for them. Secondly, there will be a feeder separation program wherein the farmer can get the account for the electricity that is used for agriculture and for other purposes. So steps like this will go in a long way. But again, out here, the execution and the implementation of this scheme is quite important in order to achieve the success. Because in the past, we have seen that the intentions, the programs have been laid down, but execution has failed to live up to somewhere. So that is why execution and how it gets implemented over a period of next 2 to 3 years will be a key monitorable going ahead.
If you talk about the markets, I mean L&T and all the shares are doing well today in the market, and they have been doing well for quite some time. What are your favorite bets, keeping in mind the kind of a budget that has been announced today?
See, the kind of capex that government has announced of 5.54 lakh crores, which is a growth of 26%. So that is a big surprise for all the market players and investors that this kind of growth is doable and government intends to execute it. And L&T being a national leader, diversified geographically, diversified segment-wise, and being the largest player in the capital goods and the infrastructure space will be the key beneficiaries. See, one thing, even if this budget was not there or this intention of the government was not there, if you look at the order inflows that L&T reported in this the last quarter, that is Q3 FY21, was astonishingly high, and it was an all-time high in its lifetime history of 73,000 odd crores in a situation when there was panic and there was issues all around across the global economies and in India as well. So if this plans of 5.54 lakh crores gets executed within the stipulated time frame, I believe that L&T has enough legs to go on and provide decent returns to the investors.
Any good bets on in power space?
See, in power, as of now, the problem is there is still economics of solar power and wind power is still evolving. So you don't have a pure play power company who is catering into the renewable space, particularly the solar and the wind, because right now whatever happening in the renewable space is beneficial for the consumer, and given the economics are still evolving, we don't know what kind of profitability or return on capital employed all this power developers will generate over the projects that they have bidded for. So one has to wait for a couple of years to understand how fast they execute the projects and how profitable those projects are, because at the end of the day the returns are made on profitability, just not on putting up projects which do not make sense economically. So you have to wait for that. And there are players like NTPC or NHPC or Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam, but then they're still finding their DNA, because if, for example, NTPC is a pure thermal coal-based power plant, and given the lower attractiveness of this power plants going ahead, both globally and from an ESG perspective, there will be a limited scope of re-rating in these stocks. Unless NTPC is claiming that they are undergoing a process of changing their own DNA from a thermal-based company to a company which is more focused on green energy and renewables. So once that execution and traction starts happening, probably NTPC will start finding flavor. Until then, we have to wait how NTPC executes plan and whatever it has committed or promised.
How do you rate the budget on scale of 10?
So probably I'll rate it the budget as at 8 on a scale of 10.
Thank you, Mr. Shah.
Thank you.